Today's math lesson, lesson 26, is on dividing decimals. The students will have 2-digit divisors. They're going to use some estimating and some reasoning about where to put the decimal point as well. So they just use the traditional written method. I'm looking at number 5 from their homework, and the word problem says, the height of the Burj Dubai, the tallest building in the world, has a total of 162 stories. If the building is 828 meters tall, about how many meters tall is each story? Well, the word each in there tells me it's a division problem. So I'm going to take the number of stories and I'm going to divide it into how tall the building is total. And that's my division I'm going to do, which is actually a three-digit dividend. So now I got to figure out how many times 162 goes into 828. And I'd have to use estimation in order to do this. Now, if I think that this number right here is about 160, or let's say 16, I know that 16 times 5 is 80. So over here, I'm going to try 162 times 5 as my estimate. When I do that, I'm going to get 810. So that seems pretty good. So here goes that. I put the 810 here and I subtract like I would in long division. When I subtract, I get 18. Now, I'm going to take my remainder. I've got a couple of options here. I can take my remainder and turn it into a fraction and then turn it into a decimal. But what I think is easier is add a decimal point, add a 0, and go from there. So now we'll bring the 0 down. 162 goes into 180 once. Subtract, and you get 18. As you can see, by the way, if you add another 0, bring it down, it's just going to keep repeating itself. So we can safely say that our answer will be, it says about how many meters tall is each story. We could say it's about each story. We can say from this answer that our answer is about, each story is about 5 meters tall. Because 5.11 isn't really an estimate, but about 5 meters tall is, round to the nearest decimal. So that's kind of how we're doing division with decimals. Now, we also talked in this lesson about using multiplication to check our answers. If I were going to do that, I would take my answer 5.11, and I would multiply it by my divisor, 162. And if I did it correctly, when I got my answer, it would equal this number. And when it says in the directions to do that, the students must check with multiplication.